What's up, YouTube? Back at you with another video, another quick take. I got my main man, my partner, my brother here.
It's been a long time, but if you don't know, now you know. The most charismatic man. Thanks for having me again, bro.
Yes, sir. So we've got an article courtesy of today.com which says Lizzo releases statement in response to lawsuit by former dancers. The article goes on to say that the pop singer, known for promoting body positivity and self-love, is sued by three of her former dancers alleging sexual harassment and creating a hostile work environment. It says Lizzo has responded after three of her former dancers filed a lawsuit this week against her, alleging weight shaming, sexual harassment, and creating, again, a hostile work environment. She said, the last few days have been gut-wrenchingly difficult and overwhelmingly disappointing. My work ethic, morals, and respectfulness have been questioned. My character has been criticized. Usually, I choose not to respond to false allegations, but these are as unbelievable as they sound and too outrageous to not be addressed. These sensationalized stories are coming from former employees who have already publicly admitted that they were told their behavior on tour was inappropriate and unprofessional. Ariana Davis, Krista Williams, and Noel Rodriguez, three dancers who previously performed with Lizzo, filed a lawsuit August 1st in Los Angeles against the singer and her team, alleging she pressured one of them in an Amsterdam strip club to touch a nude performer and subjected them to an excruciating audition after falsely accusing them of drinking on the job. The lawsuit also included claims of weight shaming and racial and religious harassment. The lawsuit names Lizzo, her production company, Big Girl, Big Touring. Wow. I'm not surprised that's the name. And dance captain Shirlene Quigley as defendants. Not every claim was brought against each defendant in the suit. It says, okay, the blah, blah, blah. So in response to Lizzo's statement, the dancers' attorney, Ron Zambrano, said in a statement to NBC News that her denial of this reprehensible behavior adds to his client's distress, saying the dismissive comments and utter lack of empathy are quite telling about her character and only serve to minimize the trauma she has caused the plaintiffs and other employees who have now come forward sharing their own negative experiences. While Lizzo notes it was never her intention to make anyone feel uncomfortable, that is exactly what she did, to the point of demoralizing her dancers and flagrantly violating the law. It says Lizzo in a statement said she does not wish to be looked at as a victim, but is also not the villain. I'm very open with my sexuality and expressing myself, but I cannot accept or allow people to use that openness to make me out to be something that I'm not. All right, so this article pretty much goes on and on. I have my thoughts on this, but bro, what do you make of this whole Lizzo situation? We talked about her, I think, like 4 or 5 months ago. I think the whole
Yep.
Ari Spears thing, yeah.
Yeah, this is not shocking. Disclaimer, Lizzo is facing some heavy allegations, no pun intended.
Heavy allegations.
Um, but I want to mention something right off the bat. I just want to get right into it. The Spectator, which is a UK branch magazine company, they did a piece on Lizzo. And the title of the piece is Lizzo and the Problem with Fact Activism, right? Here's the thing with Lizzo, and I tell people this all the time, aside from Lizzo. People put celebrities on a pedestal, right? And they look at some of the things that people do and deem them as quality people. Oh, Lizzo brought a little girl on stage. She must be this greatest superhero of all time. No, she's not. Lizzo has a history of doing things. For instance, I don't know if you was aware. I actually heard about this before off camera, but apparently in 2020, Lizzo doxed the Uber Eats driver, a black girl in California. She calls, actually, no, this happened on the East Coast. She called up Uber, for this, she wanted food from like this chicken joint. And this black girl didn't realize that it was Lizzo because Lizzo made a fake profile, no name, no ass. She just put the hotel that she was staying at, didn't give a name. Obviously it was just a fake profile. But the girl got the food, picked up the order, went to the hotel, spent, almost an hour trying to find who this person was trying to deliver the food. Lo and behold, Lizzo decides, I think an hour or two after, to post this girl's picture on Twitter and tell Uber. She actually tweeted at Uber, "Oh, this girl stole my food." And this girl had to quit Uber Eats. She went into law. She filed a lawsuit. I think they settled out of court. But this is the stuff that this happening, and I'm not surprised. I think Lizzo. I've always, I don't hate her. I would never root on somebody's. I would never hate on anybody's success, but I think there was always more to her than what meets the eye. And the part of this piece, the reason why I brought up the Spectator, was they said that Lizzo was a virtue signaler. And I say this all the time about celebrities. A lot of celebrities don't care about the LGBT movement, the Black Lives Matter. They do it because of the money and the eyeballs. Now, Lizzo claims to be an ally, right? She's an LGBT member, right? But she's straight. She has a boyfriend. She don't really participate in anything LGBT, but when she's on stage doing the show, she shouts them out, right? And I think part of Lizzo, one of the reasons why so many people are flabbergasted by this is because they put her on the pedestal. She's Black, she's a woman, so that's two things going for her right now in 2023, and she's fat. And I'm not saying that in a mean way, but she's obese. She got it working for her right now. So look what happened to Jonathan Majors when those allegations came out. Oh, he's a domestic violence abuser. Throw him under the bus. You get him out of here, right? Now with Lizzo, people are coming out. People say, no way. Lizzo is too good to be. Nah, they lying. They just looking for a dollar. What happened to believe all women? And I'm not surprised about this stuff. I won't go on too much because I know you want to speak your piece. There's a couple other stuff I want to address too. But what are your thoughts?
So honestly, like, I forgot Lizzo even existed until, this came on, my feed on Instagram like yesterday or 2 days ago, something like that. And I think, look, things happen, more often than not. You have performers who have discrepancies with their team, backup singers, whatever. But what I think really kind of, I don't want to say rubbed me the wrong way, but really had my gears going is the fact that Lizzo is beloved by society for all the wrong reasons. Kind of like you said, she's a Black woman. We're living in a, feminist, matriarchal society now, or it's moving in that direction. She's obese and she's an LGBTQ, ally, quote unquote, or so she says. And it's like people are loving her, or let's say, women love her just based on the optics, but not actually the contents of her character. Because look at what she's doing to women behind closed doors.
Exactly.
Or based on what they're saying. These are women that look just like her. And then these women are being told that they can't perform with her anymore. They're getting fired because of weight gain. This Lizzo is the poster child for weight gain in the music industry right now. How much does she weigh? Like 600 pounds or some shit? You see what I'm saying? So that's like the pot calling the kettle black or some shit. Because I Google Lizzo background dancers, and these are all women of similar, size and stature as her. So to hear that she's over there telling women or trying to police women on how much weight they're gaining, it's kind of funny because I'm pretty sure with Lizzo, there's no telling how much, weight she can gain, or no one's telling her how fat she can and can't be. You know what I'm saying? Like, didn't she have a performance or something where she was twerking and eating McDonald's or some shit? Yep. Or am I remembering wrong? I don't know. You might have to look that shit up. But I could have sworn it was either somebody like her or some shit on stage eating a container of French fries. You see what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure it was her. So, and I saw a tweet, and it was from like one of these, cute astrology girls, on Twitter. And this is what really proved my point. Because she said, I'm usually so intuitive, but I couldn't clock this Lizzo shit from a mile away. Like, this is so sad and hate to say it, but I'm actually shocked. You know why? Because you supported this woman based on the fact that she's Black, that she's fat, and she's an LGBTQ ally. But yet she's literally, how should I say, discriminating against her own kind behind the scenes. So that's what I'm saying. I think really this raises a conversation for women. Don't just support women just because of the fact that they're a woman and then they're like a piece of shit behind closed doors. Support them because of the contents of their character, because of the things that they do, for other people. So when you find these things out, You know what I'm saying? If you're shocked and then you want to try to withdraw your support, it's like, well, shit, maybe you shouldn't have been so quick to support her in the first fucking place.
Right.
You know, so that's my thing with that. I don't think Lizzo is a bad person just because she's fat. All right. But you know, again, like, you know, and I said this on my Instagram story. I just think, you know, she needed to trim down that attitude, you know, along with her weight. You know what I'm saying? So she really that's like a skinny person trying to criticize somebody else for being skinny or some shit. Motherfucker, you skinny too.
Right.
You know, so she should be these women should be saying that Lizzo is empowering them. You know, she's supporting them. She's giving them a platform to make money, do what they love to do, and then when the tours are over, to have, you know, the credentials to, you know, get work elsewhere. That's her job. So if you are going to be, you know, the poster child for obesity in America and all that shit, then make sure you're empowering other women to, you know what I'm saying, to be the same. So I shouldn't be hearing that, oh, you know, there's like thinly veiled criticisms and stuff about their weight and auditions and all of that. And then maybe these women aren't lesbian. So why are you forcing them to touch nude strippers in strip clubs and shit? That's what I'm saying. So we really need to look at, you know, we really need to examine the liberal woman, the mindsets of the liberal black woman in fucking America, because y'all just really just, how should I say, just support anybody based on the optics and what people say that they're about and all of that. But when you look at what they're doing behind closed doors, it don't even really be that. So yeah.
No, you're right. And you know, this conversation for me is more than just Lizzo. It's about people who put celebrities on a pedestal, right? And there's a lot of stuff that go behind the scenes that the average person don't know about. For instance, the SAG after strike, which we're not going to talk about in this. This is going to be another conversation, but there's a lot that goes on behind closed doors, especially in the entertainment industry, particularly the music industry. And a lot of people, like I said, they judge based off, you know, you hear, you know, that's like me coming out saying, hey, you know, I was abused by my father when I was growing up. You know, so blah blah blah. I'm touching the heartstrings of America. Now everybody puts me as the poster child for you know the greatest actor right now, right? But they don't know me as a person. They just put me in that position that they look at me as some type of figure that they can look up to. So, and you know, this brings to something that the Spectator said, quote unquote. Many women were so busy telling Lizzo that she was beautiful inside and out, as the ghastly cliche has it, that the alleged ugliness of her character may have been able to hide in plain sight all along.
Exactly.
And, you know, and I'm not surprised. You know, I was reading an article earlier about some other stuff that she's done, you know, to people online, or you know, some other rumors and stuff that has been floating around in the business, and it's because people took her and put her as the face of the fat acceptance movement, body positivity. And this goes to show when I was talking about virtue signaling. Lizzo is a pander, and I'm trying to be respectful as I say this. Lizzo is a pander. Why did I say that? Right? She's an LGBTQ ally, and I was having this conversation with Natalie 2 nights ago. When someone comes out and say I'm an LGBTQ ally, right? This is a certain protection you get when you do that, right? It's just no doubt about it. I don't care what anybody say. You come out and say that, you are going to be protected. So Lizzo, I feel like it's a panderer. She's telling people, "Oh, you could do whatever you want. You're beautiful in all sizes and all that stuff," right? Because she knows that's what many people want to hear. It's like a dude who don't want to work out. You tell him, "Yo, bro, you don't need to go work out, lose weight." He's gonna be satisfied because you telling him what he wants to hear, and that's what Lizzo's doing. And people took that as, "Oh, she's the unspoken queen of the era right now." But they don't know her as a person. And I tell people all this time, you don't know these people personally. So all these people defending her still to this day with their dying breath. Yo, did Lizzo pay for your rent? Did she
Yo,
pay
check
for your
this.
mortgage?
Yeah, check this out. It says I just googled this shit. I don't know if this shit is true. This shit it says it says
Don't even get me started.
oh my gosh. It says All right. Okay. It says the Lizzo meal consists of. It says okay. It says okay. It says Lizzo meal is coming out, which consists of 10 burgers. Not even.
Oh my god.
It says 10 burgers. Not even.
Oh my god.
And 6 Diet Cokes. Yeah. Oh my gosh, yo. Oh man. Oh
Says
my
six
gosh.
Diet
Yeah,
Cokes.
I just had to point that out because I could have sworn I saw somebody that looked just like Lizzo on social media like last year or some shit, twerking on stage, pouring a fucking, carton of like French fries in her fucking mouth or some shit like that. But yeah, I'm sorry. I just wanted to point that shit out, yo. Because that was
Nah,
fucking hilarious. I don't know, like I'm pretty sure that's probably like hyperbole because that is fucking crazy because the average person can't eat that shit. But then again, there's a lot of motherfuckers out here who love McDonald's, so I wouldn't be surprised.
yeah,
I got
it, and this other allegation, Charlene Quigley, who uh, uh, the dance team captain, apparently she was using sexual, religious, and racial harassment. The things that a lot of people don't realize when you work with celebrities or people of power, there's a certain power dynamic that comes with it, obviously, right? And one of the allegations they're also lobbing into both Lizzo and I think mostly Shirley and the production company, Big Girl, is false imprisonment because apparently one girl recorded the dance routine they had to learn, and she was forced to stay in the hotel room until the security felt that the footage was permanently deleted off her phone, and she couldn't leave until they were satisfied with that.
I believe it.
And
I
I
believe it.
believe it too.
Yeah.
All this stuff is not surprising. Again, I think people, Taylor Swift fans, all these people that would defend these people in their dying breath. Look, I'm not here to say every celebrity's bad.
Mhm.
We all know, Chadwick Boseman always had an impeccable reputation. Michael B. Jordan, Keanu Reeves, Denzel Washington. You rarely ever hear anything negative, and that's being really generous. Rarely. There's a lot of great people out there. However, I don't know them personally, so I will never defend them with my dying breath. Oh, they I swear, you never know. You don't know what these people do behind closed doors, and I'm not lobbying anything at
Yeah,
those people.
behind the 17,000 calories she consumes every fucking day.
Exactly, and you know what? I'm not surprised that she's doing this because again, it's pandering. She knows when she's on stage, she looks a certain way. A certain community is going to back her no matter what, right? So this fat acceptance, body positivity movement has embraced Lizzo as the face of change. So she could do no wrong in their eyes. It's like
But,
Ted
but
Bundy.
yeah, but you know what's crazy though? But it's like, can we even really be mad at Lizzo? Because Lizzo didn't put herself on that platform. You know what I'm saying? Like Lizzo is part of a grand scheme to really, and not even, I don't even want to say like white people or other cultures, but Lizzo is part of like a bigger scheme that like will have a negative impact on black people, like straight up. Because I'm not saying that, and like all jokes aside and stuff, like I know people who are on like the heavier set side stuff like that, and they're good people, okay. But we all know that you can't say that being obese is healthy. Like you can feel good about yourself as a person, but physically, like nutrition wise, that's not good. And that's the type of lifestyle that Lizzo is pushing, and it's like we're not allowed to say anything about it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like if we had this conversation, let's say last week before these things came out, motherfuckers would say we're bad guys or we're fat shaming because we're critical of her. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can be you, but be you in a healthy way. But what's funny is that she's not even doing that with her own backup dancers. And that's the thing. So now we really need to, not even really us, because you and I were pretty objective when it comes to certain things. Even when we were talking about Jonathan Majors, I just said I hated to see, a black man in that type of position. I didn't know whether he was guilty or not, but I was like, he has my support as of now. You know what I'm saying? Because when it was him, he was freaking, guilty until proven innocent. Lizzo, people are not going to cancel Lizzo over this, because society is not, this society we're living in right now is not a society that holds women accountable for the bad things that they do behind closed doors. I'm not saying Lizzo is supposed to be perfect, but let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? The scales are not even on all sides. So just like how people are criticizing, Jonathan Majors and other men, you also need to do the same for women. Not more than us, but, just let it be even.
No, you know what? You made a good point. Someone mentioned that too. It's like, that double standard. If it was a man that these girls were accusing of, he already would have a court date set. But because it's another woman, people are treating it, just deal with it. It's not that serious.
Yeah, they ain't mad. They're just surprised, but they're not mad. You know what I'm saying? They're not saying, what we're saying. And again, I never hated Lizzo. Like, in fact, in the Aries Spears quick take, for people who probably think that I'm overly critical of her, in fact, I pretty much took her side in the whole Aries Spears thing. Because you know what I said? I said, well, hey, if Aries Spears is going to say XYZ about Lizzo, then he needs to be in shape. Because, I'm pretty sure if you ask Aries Spears to take his shirt off, I'm pretty sure he's not abbed up. I'm pretty sure he's not cut up. He probably don't got no muscles. From the picture that I saw, he was fat too. So that's what I said, you cannot criticize somebody for something if you yourself don't fit the criticism, if that makes sense. You feel what I'm saying? So I can't tell you go to the gym if I don't go. You dig what I'm saying?
Right.
So this isn't like me being biased or me trying to be mean. I'm just being real,
Right.
And if these are the things that are going on behind closed doors, then women need to, don't just fuck with somebody. Like, all right, like I always say, I'm not going to like a superhero just because he's black. Miles Morales is not my favorite Spider-Man just because people think he's black or he's considered a black superhero. No, what makes me want to support somebody is who they actually are. My favorite Power Ranger, he is not black. He is white. Jason David Frank was my favorite Power Ranger, not Walter Jones, who was the one black guy on Mighty Morphin. You get where I'm going with this? So why I support a celebrity has more so to do with the things that they say and what I've heard about them and the things that they do. So if, let's say, and I've always said this, like me, I'll support Will Smith my whole entire life. And I've always said, like, it would take him to do something super heinous or some shit like that behind closed doors, and for it to come out, for me to want to withhold that support that I've given him my whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't just be shocked. I'd be upset. But these girls they're just like, oh, I'm so surprised. Why I never saw this coming from Lizzo. Gee, well, you know what I'm saying? We don't always see the dark side of the moon, do we? You know what I'm saying? But you got to assume there's a dark side, and now it's coming out. And that's the thing. Like I said earlier, Lizzo's not worried about getting canceled. See, like I said, Jonathan Majors, stuff revoked. Well, as a matter of fact, no. Then again, it said, I saw a link and it said that Beyonce removed Lizzo's name from, I guess, a song that they had or some shit like that. But, I don't know. But I don't see this having any long-term ramifications on her career.
Yeah, and let me mention this too. Nationalreview.com posted this. The double standard with Lizzo, right? And one of the parts they said was, quote, thousands of women in the entertainment industry, 94% in the film industry, report sexual harassment such as unwelcome sexual comments or advances. Although the Me Too movement was focused mostly on the behaviors of men, women can also engage in unacceptable power dynamics. And that's exactly what the key part is, because so many people are, always fixated on men doing it, but people don't realize when there's power at hand, anybody can be corrupt. Female police officers are known to shoot unarmed, black people. So the fact that anybody is shocked that it's happened, I'm not shocked, because this is something that, like I said, Lizzo, she was put as a face of a movement. And I agree with you in the sense that maybe she wasn't looking for that to be held in that such high regard. but she got to be held accountable because she
No,
ran
she
with
embraces it. She embraces it.
embraced it.
I'm saying, yeah, like she didn't ask to be there, but we can both agree that she is somebody it has embraced that pedestal that people put her on. So that's why, as these accusations are coming out, she's quick to want to dispel them because she's aware of the fact of, she's aware of the pedestal that she's on.
Right. And, and then the National Review goes on to say her accusers shouldn't be ignored just because their former employee was a female celebrity who claims to respect women. And that's the key part. Anybody could go out there. And that's why I said people need to really be careful about who they, choose to believe and all that stuff, because anybody could say good, smooth words. And I used Ted Bundy as a joke, but seriously, Ted Bundy was the prime example of a guy who go in the bar, pick up a bunch of women because he was smooth with his voice. He knew the right things to say to trigger a response. And then what happened? He got you in a room and killed you. And I'm not saying she's doing that, but what I'm saying is Lizzo was pandering to many crowds. Like I said, when anybody, Ezra Miller, for instance, or they is a person, leader of the actor of the Flash, who came out a part of the LGBT community. So what happened with all of the controversy with I'm gonna try to be a little respectful here. There's no consequences for what Ezra was doing. Same thing with Lizzo. She's an ally. And I think that's the issue. Just because someone is virtue signaling don't mean nothing. Just because I say I care about LGBT, the LGBT community, and then behind closed doors, I'm punching trans women and gay bashing
Exactly.
gay men,
that doesn't, yeah. So then that's not real support. And I also want to mention my good brother Ramy, or his name on Instagram is Ramio1983. I actually know him. He's from Australia, as far as I know. And I went on her Instagram just to kind of, take a look around. And I saw his comments at the top, and I'm actually going to read it. And he said, when I worked in the airlines a few years ago here in Australia, I was the cabin manager on her flight from Sydney to Melbourne. He said she was nasty, wouldn't look at me, got her PR lady to speak to me and then speak to her. Although I was looking right at Lizzo. So she wouldn't even talk to him. She wouldn't even talk to him. So imagine you standing in front of me, but then I have my manager talk to you through me. So we're all standing in the same area, but I won't allow you to speak directly to me. You got to talk to my manager, who will communicate to me. Then I will communicate to my manager, who will communicate to you. What kind of bullshit is that?
That happens all the time.
You see what I'm saying? This is who she is. And I believe him because he's from Australia. Why would he lie about that? Then he said, I didn't listen and address Lizzo directly, demanding communication, rather. She just put her feet up, looked drab and sour, and when it was time to leave the flight, she didn't even say thank you or goodbye, just gathered her posse and left loudly. Honestly, she was so mad at me for using her real name and being professional. So in light of my experience, I can see how she'd be a nightmare to be around. And this is the same type of person that a lot of women be caping for. These are the types of people that you be caping mad hard for. That's what I'm saying. So y'all liberal black women, I don't care about other races. I'm talking to black women. Y'all really need to look at yourselves in the mirror and stop just rocking with somebody just because of what they look like, just because of what they say that they're about. But then yet they treat people like dirt. And a lot of times people don't really care until it happens to them. Until Lizzo ignores you on the street, then you're going to want to say, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to rock with her no more. It shouldn't take all of that for people to see the truth. Right. Don't just rock with somebody just for the sake of it. Rock with them because of the contents of their actual character. Because this doesn't surprise me at all, in my opinion. You hear those stories a lot dealing with certain celebrities, like motherfucking, Chris Rock and shit. You know what I'm saying? I remember hearing that he's not the nicest person, to me in real life. So if he's like that, then what's to say Lizzo doesn't fall, far from that type of tree? Yeah. And because she knows, especially she'll act like that, and she knows that liberal black women are going to ride for her regardless. So she ain't worried. That's what I'm saying. She ain't worried about it because society does not hold, women to the same, standards that they hold men to. They don't. So if you heard, let's say, I don't know, let's say if somebody said, Dave Chappelle or Kevin Hart or some shit, one of their employees or three of their employees come out and say, yeah, he was verbally abusive to us. He threw things at us and our work was, extremely difficult and hard. You know how much backlash you will get? Especially, let's say if some of those employees were not black and they came out and said that they were working under unrealistic working conditions and all of that, abused and all that shit, verbally put down and everything. Them niggas would be canceled right now. Everybody would be like, you know what I'm saying? But when it comes to her, I see she's getting criticism. But for me, again, given the society that we're living in 2023, people may not be talking about this 4 months from now. I'm just saying. So by the end of the year, Lizzo will probably still be on tour, twerking on stage, you know what I'm saying? Doing what she always does. So, but this isn't, to me, this is bigger than Lizzo. This is really more so about people who support her. Again, support who you want to support, but support them for the right reasons. Support them for real reasons.
No, right.
Because there's so many Lizzos right now in their entertainment. She ain't the only one.
No.
She's just the one that got caught or that got called out for it. But that's what I'm saying.
That's what, and you know what, and that's exactly what I agree with, because like I said, she already has some track record of doing stuff. Doxing a innocent girl who's just trying to make a little money for entertainment on Twitter. Come on, like this girl was talking about getting death threats just because Lizzo wanted to have a little fun and dox the girl. Like, this is what happens when you feed the pig too much. They get a little greedy, they get comfortable because you put them in that position. And one more thing I want to address. I was hearing this podcast earlier this morning talking about the Lizzo situation, and I heard some of the girls on the podcast talk about how these girls should have said no. Lizzo's not at fault for them not saying no. They could have said no at the club and at the dance studios and all this stuff when all this happening. And they have a choice. And I say this, we're both in the entertainment industry, and let's be real. It's all about the opportunity. So when you get the opportunity to do what you're doing, what these girls are doing, you're on tour with one of a very big celebrity. It's hard to say no to those type of things. Now, I may have different morals than them. I might say no quicker than they would, but everybody's not me. Everybody's not Dimitri. So the fact that they're telling these women, you should have said, no, that would have been all be all. No, it's not, because it's a power dynamic. When someone has the money, they're controlling your finances. They're controlling your pay. The people that are directly impacting your livelihood, it's hard to just say no to them, because how many of those girls can just walk away from a Lizzo tour right now? They can, but what money? What protection? They ain't getting nothing. And on top of that, most of these contracts that they sign is not in their favor anyway. So I'm glad that these women stood up, and it's one of those things. Look, a conversation need to be started. I was listening to UFC light heavyweight champ Jamal Hill. He said this before. If everybody keep their hands to themselves, there would be no crime. There would be no domestic violence, right? And this is the same situation. When men do it, it's a problem. When women do it, people tell them, stop. Yeah, it's all right. Deal with it. Stop being a sim. Stop whining. No, same thing. If people treat everybody with respect, we wouldn't have to worry about lawsuits like this. Quite frankly, people will sue anyway. But I believe these girls. I'm not saying she's guilty of everything. I'm not. But what I'm saying is, when you have multiple people, especially women of color and people that look like Lizzo, coming out saying, hey, she's doing this to us and we want to take some action, I believe them, because there's no benefit for them. She's an ally. She's an LGBTQ ally. And I'm stressing that because, like I said, when you come out as an LGBT ally, no matter what you do, you can't come out and criticize them, because what's going to happen? People are going to call you a homophobe, a transphobe, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So she's already backed by 5 different communities. But these allegations, these girls also fit in a lot of these communities too. So now it's helpful, because that barrier of what Lizzo stood for is starting to crumble. So if it was a bunch of men doing it, nobody would care. But since there's other women that look like Lizzo who do the same thing as Lizzo, just not as famous, it's a conversation to be had. And again, people, if you take anything away from this, just because you have a favorite athlete, rapper, whatever, celebrity, don't mean you know what they do. So don't be online defending these people like it's your line, your last breath. Because if you do something wrong, if you're short on your rent, they're not coming to save you. And if they don't give you an autograph, don't go on Twitter complaining later. Oh, they were right. Lizzo was an asshole. I don't want to hear it. But you know.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that these people are above reproach at the end of the day. It's always somebody's time to, you know, get criticism and all that shit. And again, everything that I said is pretty much valid. All jokes aside, same thing for you. So anyway, what are your thoughts? Please be sure, as always, to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.